Were you surprised when KSW contacted you and offered you a contract?
Yeah, I mean, KSW, I didn't really think they themselves would contact. But, you know, after winning Yannick Bahati, who is the BEMA champion, middleweight champion, to become the first double division champion, I thought that there would be big organizations to contact me, and I actually thought BEMA will contact me because he was at that stage the middleweight champion at BEMA as well. So to go over there and give him a rematch for his belt as well. And when KSW contacted me, I was very, very happy. You know, I know about KSW, and it's a big organization, and it's really an honor for me to fight here and to on my first fight for the title. I think it's amazing.
How much did you know about KSW? Did you know fighters? Did you watch some fights?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen quite a few fights. You know, I've trained with James McSweeney before, and I've also I've met quite a few guys. I train at Tiger Muay Thai a lot, and a lot of guys go there that fight KSW. Also, when I fought Rafael Harteg, I heard about it, and you know, there's a lot of fight highlights, all that kind of stuff that come from KSW, ACB, and then you know, when only once they contacted me, I started doing research, and I realized it's a massive promotion, and it's worldwide, it's huge. In Africa, it's not that big, but that will change now that I'm fighting here. You know, I'm very well known in South Africa and all of Africa. You know, the double division champ there, so there will be a whole lot of people watching this fight and watching my next fights in KSW.
Can you tell us how big is MMA in South Africa and Africa?
You know, it's quite a young sport in South Africa and Africa. We only started 7-8 years ago, and it's turned into a massive sport. It's we have millions of people watching. We have on a live event 2 to 3 million people watching live. We have 11 million every month that watch in total. The shows themselves not that big, 5,000 people live, but I mean it's growing, and it's the fastest growing sport in the world and in Africa. It's getting so much bigger and bigger, and people are loving it.
How high is the level of competition here? Because I think the most of your opponents were foreigners.
Yes, I mean I've had quite a few South African opponents. But most of my opponents, you know, African, up in North Africa, Congo, and then my last few fights I have quite Brazil, guys from Brazil, England, from Poland, Rafael, and you know, it's the level in Africa is definitely great. You know, there's a lot of talent. The gyms are getting bigger. People are investing much more time. We actually are full-time fighters now. I'm a full-time fighter. That's all I do, and we are ready to compete with the rest of the world, and this is my shot to show that we can compete with the rest of the world. A place like Poland, organization like KSW, who have generations of fighters, guys who've been doing this for a very long time, to show that Africa is ready to compete with the rest of the world.
Sure. You already said that you fought with Rafael Harteg. How do you remember this fight? Was he a good opponent, or...?
Yes, he's a brilliant opponent, very nice guy. He's a very good fighter. Gave me a very good fight, especially first round. You know, we knew he's going to come in hard. He's strong. We fought at middleweight, and he came in. He's a brilliant fighter, and you know, I just always do what I have to do to win the fight. And it was a brilliant matchup. And I know this fight with Boris will go the same way. It will be a tough fight, but I will be the winner at the end of the day.
Sure. Can you tell us, is your contract with KSW exclusive, or can you fight with UFC and defend your titles?
My contract with KSW, currently I can defend my belt with EFC, so I will be defending my belt in March, but we haven't discussed for how long. We just know the fight in March is definitely, I can defend my belt in March for EFC still. And then the plan is to be the first man in history to have 3 belts at the same time.
Do you think Boris is the toughest opponent you've ever had?
No, I think this is a big organization, and this is a great opportunity. I don't think he's the toughest guy I've ever fought. I've fought some tough guys, and I think I am the toughest guy he's ever fought. And you know, he's fought a lot of guys. He's fought some good opponents, and this is exactly why this fight means so much to me. You know, the guys he beat, and if this fight I will perform, and then people will see how good I am, and I'm really thinking he's a great opponent, and he's going to bring the best out of me, and hopefully I can bring the best out of him.
Because still he fought Jesse Taylor, who won the last Ultimate Fighter. He fought with Mamet, who is who is a legend in European MMA. So you, I mean, you have to respect.
100%. I mean, he had a good fight with Mamet. It was a 3-round war, and it was good. Not a whole lot of activity, not a whole lot of shots, but he's faced the best. He also had a fight with Mebek Tasumov at lightweight. I know Mebek well. I train with him at Tiger Muay Thai. When I go there for sometimes on holiday, I train there. And he's fought a lot of fights. He has a good resume, and to fight and beat a guy like Jesse Taylor, it's very good, and it's good for him, and it's going to be even better for me.
You're going to be a bigger guy in the octagon. Do you think that it's going to be your one of your biggest advantages, or you will have others?
I think my biggest advantage is going to be my strength. I'm a very, very strong physically, and obviously the reach. I'm quite a bit taller than him. I think I haven't seen all the fights I've watched. He hasn't fought a guy as tall as I am. And then all the fights thus far Boris have lost is against the taller opponents, and I am one of the tallest opponents that he's faced to date. So I think that's going to be a very, very big advantage of mine, and also the fact that I'm a all-around fighter. He has very good wrestling, but he doesn't know how good my wrestling is, and I think I have very good wrestling, very good stand-up, and very good ground game. So it's going to be very cool to see how this plays out. For him, he wants to close the distance. And I'm fine with closing distance, keeping the fight in the clinch, but my ultimate advantage is going to be on the outside, where I have the much bigger reach. I can land solid kicks, solid punches, and without him being able to get close to me.
Sure. All of your fights so far were in South Africa. The first time you're going to be fighting abroad. Is it going to be a problem going to another country in the middle of winter, cutting weight yet?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest problem for me was the weight cut, but luckily last year December I was scheduled to fight at Legend Fight Night in Australia. I did the weight cut, everything, and on the way to the fight, I was already on the plane one day before the fight. In Singapore there was a problem with my visa for Australia, and I had to make the weight, and I made the weight on the airport, the worst weight cut of my life, and the fight didn't happen because we were too late. And so the hardest part for me is to make the weight. That's the biggest fight. Once I'm there, once the fight happens, I'm comfortable no matter where it is. So I think that experience gave me all the confidence that I need. And now I'm here 6 weeks before the fight, and to see what my weight does, and my weight's doing perfectly, so everything is going to be great. And for me it's going to be the same as fighting at home, except for the crowd's going to be in his favor, but that's not something that I'm concerned about when I get in the cage. When I started MMA, I was the underdog for quite a few fights in a row, and I made the fans like me, and I made the fans love my fighting style, and that's the same plan I have here at KSW, to make the fans fall in love with the way I fight, and start treating me like their champion, even though I'm not from Poland, but just the fact that they respect the way I fight and the way I come and do things.
Can you tell us a little about your background? Because your record is pretty misleading, I think, because you have 8 submissions, 3 KOs, but you started K1 when you were 15, I guess, and earlier you've trained judo.
Yes, I did judo for 7 years. Started when I was 5 years old, and then I went over to K1, became K1 WACO K1 world champion, and then at the age of 19 I started fighting professional. And that's why a lot of people think I'm a ground guy. I have 8 submissions and 3 TKOs. The reason being, I knew going in as a K1 world champion that everybody's going to want to take me down. Everybody's going to think I have no ground game, and I worked so hard on my ground game that to get it on level with my stand-up, and now I'm an all-around fighter. I don't think I'm better at stand-up, wrestling, or grappling. I think I'm better at an all-around guy. I can do all 3. I train every day. I train all 3 aspects of MMA, and that makes it hard to fight me. I think very hard to prepare for me, because you don't know what you're going to get. I don't even know how I'm going to do what I'm going to do. I don't fight with a game plan. I get in there and I do what I see fit. I'll try it on the feet, go to the ground, go to the clinch, see where I get the best of the guy, and that's where the fight will go.
How long do you plan to fight in the KSW, and is UFC in the end of the road?
Yeah, to become the UFC champion and ultimately become the greatest of all time. That's where I'm heading. That's my goal. And but for the next year, KSW is definitely my home, and this is where I see myself to become the KSW champion. And after this fight, if I put up a good enough performance, maybe defend the belt once, and then challenge Khalidov for his belt.